Hi guys, thank you so much for joining us for Hair Heroes. I am super excited. This is our third episode with the fabulous Alexander Turnbull. And as you know, if you've watched the other shows, you know what a brilliant artist he is. He is as comfortable behind the chair in a salon, in a photo studio, working in television, working on runway. This wonderful award-winning hairdresser has so much to share with us. So if you haven't seen the two other episodes, check them out. So today, this gorgeous gentleman is going to teach me some great tricks, and I'm super, super excited. So let's give our fabulous Alexander a welcome. The virtual hi, hug, hug, hug. How are you? How you doing?
Oh, I'm really good, Vivienne. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to learn. I've got my girlie here, my buxom wench.
I honestly, and I'm going to say this, you must be one of the most humble hairdressers I know, because you have such a skill set, and you still have the decency to say you're going to learn from me.
Oh,
I don't look at it as you're going to learn from me. I like to call these sessions hair jamming sessions.
Absolutely. And we can swoosh, baby. We swoosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. So this is one of your wigs from your collection, and she's gorgeous.
Thank you. Well, this one, I'm Alexander, and this is Alexandra. So it could get a little bit confusing, but she's my female namesake, if you like. Now, Vivienne and myself, we're both working with an Alexandra today. So I have Alexandra in Champagne R. Now, the R stands for root, and Vivienne has Alexandra in Crimson LR. Now, LR stands for a long root. So hairdressers, a long root, as you well know, ombre, stretch root, that kind of vibe, that's what that colour technique is. And what we like to do here at Renee Paris is have some rooted colours, because they make them a bit more natural, and of course, we all like roots these days, don't we? Which, when I started my career, was I never thought I'd see that day or say that day, but you know what? I love them. So we're working with the same kind of style. So, and what I'd like to do is I'd like to do a take on a ponytail, Vivienne, if you're up for it.
Absolutely.
Just as I'm getting set up, and I'm just going to speak to our friends as I'm getting set up. Now these are a T-pin, you see? So I'm just going to pop these T-pins, like that, look, like a T. I'm going to put these T-pins into the wig and then into the mannequin. And what I'd like to do while I'm doing that is just, I love ponytails. You know, I love ponytails, and there's so many variations of them. And Vivienne, I really like what you did, that ponytail story and the whole shoot behind it and the whole concept behind it. I mean, that's probably why I wanted to do this with you a little bit today as well, because, you know, the beauty of it, the ponytails can be done so many different ways. What made you want to do that, and what inspired you to do the ponytail collection?
I think ponytails are probably the most challenging thing to do, and I think it's the most easily understood hairstyle. Most clients have at some point put their hair in a ponytail, and so they understand that. So I think it's, when we think about styling hair at salon level, a ponytail isn't such a huge stretch away from offering a service in addition or alternative to your blow dry services. So I thought it wouldn't be such a stretch. Actually, out of all the educational content that I've created over the years, I'd have to say that one was probably the hardest one to do. To do wearable, pretty ponytails that the average person could wear. And then clearly understanding that when you take all of the hair to one place on the head, you lose a lot of volume because all the hair is harvested to one area. So that becomes really quite a challenge, really, to have sufficient hair, and then how to put in hair pieces so that it looks like it's growing out of the head. And then using hair accessories. And you did say earlier that you were keen to do a hair accessory. And I was using hair accessories in my ponytail, and it was like, oh my gosh, what a nightmare, because you get the hair accessory in, and then it starts to mess up the hairstyle, and it becomes a real major, major problem because it doesn't hold the hair well. So accessories can be tricky. That I do know. So what are we going to do?
Well, okay, so you've just basically told all our friends out there that hair accessories can be tricky, and now I'm going to tell you to get a hair accessory. So,
yeah, which is good. I got a nice box here with my bits.
okay, so
I think this is a fishing tackle box, but got the box with all the bits.
Just as a matter of interest, are you a keen angler?
No, but it's actually very, very good. As long as you know which side to open first, it doesn't go into disaster. Actually, I've got something really interesting here. This must have been, I don't know, part of an electrical thing. Maybe it's something, but this is a copper wire. Yeah, it's just copper wire. That's really interesting because you can actually find, copper wire is very expensive. I know that for sure. But this is actually very pliable. Actually, the copper's quite nice in her hair.
Oh yeah, that is a nice addition. Well, I mean, I've got a couple of things. Excuse me for coming out of shop. I'm going to show you a couple of things I've got. So, I went shopping looking for little bits yesterday. So I found this in like kind of one of the hobby shops and craft shops. Now this is like a long, like, it's like a load of pearls on a wire, which I really quite like. So I was thinking about using that. So what I do when I'm looking at it, or what I'm going to do, first I offer it up into the hair. Now I know that that's going to look good out there. But I also got this. Now, it's basically a gold chain with leather in it.
That looks very Chanel.
Yeah, it does look very Chanel, but it actually just came from one of the very affordable shops where they sell all little hair trinkets where I take my little girls often. And this was actually off a mobile phone case that was in the bargain bin. And I think the mobile phone case was like about $3. So obviously the case went and I just took the chain off. So, so I'm always looking for things, think, could I use that for hair or whatnot? So
I got rope. you could be posh with your Chanel thing, and I've got a bit of rope here. So I suppose it depends on how gritty and organic I want my girl to be. But I think it's more about how we apply this, isn't it? So I've got some bits. So when we get to that part.
All right. Well, first things first. I mean, Alexandra herself, it's a curly wig. So you may have seen what I was doing as I was going through this. So as I was going through this, I was just brushing some of the hair a little bit smoother. Okay? So ultimately when I'm starting to wrap hair, and I'm starting to add the pony, I'm not coming across any bumps or knots or lumps or, so there's no pulls at all. And it creates my hair. The hair here is going to be a little bit easier to work with.
So am I meant to just brush this and make this as smooth as possible?
Yeah, just keep pushing until you feel that there's no knots in there, and until you feel ready to put the base ponytail in, or the base band in, or whatever you do. Now I'm going to take my pony pretty low. I'm going to take her about here.
Okay, so that's low. And are you going to create any shape in here? Or would we be backcombing this, or we're just going to keep this skinny?
So I think nice and flat, because there's going to be, originally I thought we'd do some of the nice backcombing, and I wanted to see some of the, I've watched your lace backcombing, which is beautiful. But I think for this, I want the hero to be at the bottom. And, sometimes, and I was guilty of this as a young hairdresser, I used to throw too much in.
Yeah, that's a good point. And so this fringe is just going to kind of like come across. And is this it's going to be below her ears or above her ears?
the pony itself below her ears. So I'm just getting that just around about here.
All right, and so we're going to secure it right at the very bottom here, right?
Towards the nape, yeah.
So we just put an elastic band in, right?
Sure. I mean, whichever takes your fancy. I mean, I'll show you what I do. Is I preload my brush. So you can see I've got little bands on there.
Yeah.
I've got a black elastic on there. So I like preload my brush.
Yeah.
So
Well,
just like,
let me come in close so I can see what you're doing. This is very exciting, folks.
now I pop them off, and then I've always got bands at my disposal.
Okay.
I would, you've asked for some advice for our friends out there, and the advice that I've been giving people is all the mistakes that I've made and learned from across the years. Because I didn't used to prepare. I used to get in and get too excited and run in all like flapping around like a puppy and then realise I didn't have any of my equipment and things. So, take a step back, put the bands on there. I was never a big one for wearing a bag or a hair belt or anything. I just didn't feel it was really me. So.
No, it's so not you.
So
You'd look like a big woman's blouse if you wore all that stuff around you, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's just never really been my style. So, I've got pockets and bits and, bushes and stuff. So, I'm not going too nuts with the pony in terms of, I think that's neat enough. I don't.
So, any tips about putting your ponytail in? Because there's a few things that I've learned through this. So I'm curious to know what sort of tips you have before I share 2 tips that I have.
Okay, so I'll give it, depending on what kind of pony you want. I mean, I don't mind having a bit of body here, but I can see a lump here, okay? So what I could do to get rid of that lump is I could
don't look at it.
I do.
When you see something you don't like, or she sees something that she doesn't like, just say, well, then just don't look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. There is that one, I mean, that's just a topsy tail, okay? So I'm just taking that tail in there, and you could use a pintail comb. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use a pintail comb so I can get it a little bit more effective.
Yeah. Good.
So, just taking a tail comb like so, and then I just put that in, and then when I push that in, just underneath the hair, I can actually clean the pony up just with the tail of the comb.
Yes.
You see, by pushing that down, so
that's beautiful.
The teeth of your brush didn't quite get every knot or pull everything as straight as it could have been.
Yeah.
Take the tail of the comb and pull that down. Like so. Now, also, I'm going to give a big pony technique here. Now, this is just a normal band, okay? And that's fine.
Yeah.
Because it's quite a commercial look. But, this is a trick I learned from John Vial. They used to do a lot of the fashion stuff with John and London Fashion Week. And John has, for getting the cleanest of ponies, he would never, look at a round band. He had a long line of elastic rope like this.
Oh, and tie them.
Yeah, and then John would say, right, okay, hold that, and then we wrap it.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you, you get the cleanest, most beautiful pony. So any high fashion pony that you see, New York Fashion Week, London Fashion Week, I think 9 times out of 10 are done like that.
Yes, they are.
And I mean, this is okay for commercial, if I was doing my daughter's hair or my wife's hair or just doing something quick when you wouldn't want it that clean and severe. This is fine. But they're my tips.
Yeah, I love that. So my tip is that when you're putting the ponytail in the nape of the neck, if you have your hand here, it becomes elevated. So if you put your hand there, when you put your elastic band, your fingers can be closer to the head for when you secure the band. So instead of holding it there and putting the band, putting it there, that you come closer. So you're holding it above as opposed to holding it underneath, because sometimes, yeah.
This one's the no-no.
Yeah, well, if you want it really snug, if you want it really snug down there. And then the other thing I'll do is I'll take a piece of hair from this underneath and I'll just start to nurse that in so it can be even snugger there so that it doesn't so it really is snug in the nape of the neck. So those are two things. If you hold it above, it'll be elevated. If you hold it, if you hold it underneath, it's elevated over your hand. If you hold it above, then it is closer. And then if you come through here and just pull this little piece on the underneath, that just will cinch it in for that client who doesn't want that kind of thing going on, wants it smaller.
What a wonderful technique. And presumably using that technique would be a nice basis for a chignon as well, and anything which you create in that gorgeous kind of, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. That's the only tip I have today. That's it. I'm out of tips. But I do have my angry caterpillar. People who use these for hair pads in the hair, I just put my pins in it and I'm very organized. So there you go. One angry caterpillar, one piece of rope, one piece of copper, and I am so ready for the next part of my hairstyle.
Right. Okay. Well, I like this. I like this, Vivienne. This is good fun. So I'm going to leave this to your artistic license and choice, but would you like to get your weapon of choice? Mine is going to be the mobile phone handbag case.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to watch you first.
And I'm just going to clip. So this has got I don't know what yours has got, but this has got little catches. So I'm just going to take this little catch like that. I'm going to put my thumb in there, look. And I'm just going to put that in the band, like that, look. So I'm just walking away. So I've got a ponytail, a band, and that.
Okay.
Right. Okay. That isn't the only trick. There is more. What I do is I want to lose that band, and I want some solidarity up at the top. So I'm going to wrap this one around twice. Yeah.
Okay.
And then now. Keep the hair out on that side. Like this. Come round. Then.
So basically you're just wrapping it around and around, right?
I am.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm leaving, as I wrap around for this next bit, I'm leaving a little piece of hair out of each section.
Okay.
So I'll take this side and I'll wrap it like this. So I'm going to just stop a second. So can you see? I get this piece out and then this piece out.
Okay. So it's sitting above, correct?
Yeah.
Above the twist.
Yeah.
So you're creating sort of like an undone effect within there.
If you like, yeah. So then what I'll do, now I've got the basis in there, is I can then just, and as well, this is rough work. This is not, I want hair to be still like hair and feel organic, So, I don't have to pull it within an inch of its life. Just pull it just like getting these pieces out like this. And that's how.
Okay. Oh, that's looking really cool. I like that.
So then I'm going to wrap over again, look. And then my fingers just, you know what, I'm not going to lose sleep over my section. if one section's slightly bigger than the other, then so be it, as long as it balances, and that's the trick, the balance.
Yes.
So, and then I can just push that chain up there a little bit more, and then have this.
That's looking really cool.
It's just simple and pretty, and something that, that I've done this style on many people, when somebody wanted to be really quick and really stunning, but effective,
So as you're twisting it, it's almost like you're braiding with the piece, correct?
A little little bit. Yeah, a little bit, because it would seem like that. So these are coming out. I did something similar years ago, and I learned this from my ex-boss, Mark Hill. When fishtail braids really became massive again in about 2001.
Yeah.
He won British Hairdresser of the Year. I put some fishtails in the collection when they were getting out there, and everyone was going nuts. So the next year, we did scorpion tail braid, which is basically a fishtail braid, but then we kind of, I don't know, depending on what you wanted, maybe a couple of inches down, we would pull a section out. You had this fishtail braid with little bits of hair, like a scorpion tail, all the way running down the braid. It was beautiful.
Wow.
It was gorgeous. It was a similar kind of technique, really. You're just leaving a little bit. It's similar to, when people do a nice waterfall braid and they leave that piece of hair out. I say it a lot with hair cutting. Sometimes it's not what you cut off, it's what you leave on that makes it. Same with an upstyle, Sometimes an upstyle might look not very nice, and then you pull that little bit of hair out or dishevel it a little bit, and then the magic comes.
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes when you walk a mile away, my work looks its best.
Oh yeah. Sometimes my work looks away with a mile away with my eyes closed with my back to it.
So I wrap the hair around, right? And then I've taken this coil, my copper coil, and I'm wrapping it, and I'm starting to pull this apart and create quite an interesting sort of texture, and sort of seeing how that's going to look. Then, of course, the challenge is you pull one piece out too much, and you go, oh, damn, I shouldn't have done that. So it's quite sort of interesting, and so I'm feeling with my one, I need to undo my ponytail a bit. I don't know whether you think I should, but I've got that going on, right? So I've basically bound it and just pulling pieces apart, but I'm feeling as though
I'm feeling that you're feeling that
I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it and see that see if that works. And if it doesn't, well, then it was a great experiment, right?
If in doubt, take it out.
Yeah. And I think you said something very important about working into your mirror and looking at the shape and the balance as you're coming through. Not always just looking straight at your work, but looking through. And the other thing that I always love is making sure it's really snug around the face and it's wider at the ear. So that's the other part of this as well. But, I love the colors that I'm working with here. They're absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it works well, doesn't it? You've got a really nice contrast of color there.
Yeah, and I got my copper going on, and I'd like to cut my copper, but I think I'd get myself into a bit of a tricky situation. So yours is looking so cool. Yours is looking really clever, really clever. Let's go back to yours for a second. Yours is more fabulous. I'm loving this.
I don't know.
Oh, that's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
I'm pretty much finished, Vivienne, in terms of this, because not any particular other reason apart from I ran out of chain. So, that's the thing you'll get with me, brutal honesty, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. But, I've run out of chain, and that's fine.
Yes.
So this is where my pony kind of comes to an end. So, I would send a lady out, look, like the Oscars. This would be cool Oscars hair. It would be cool red carpet hair, it looks good. So I just need to kind of lose that other hook. Okay, so what I do is that's the other hook there where my finger's pointing.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna, if I can not use a bobby pin and use the hook itself, I will.
That would be amazing. Well, I'm going to use my kitchen scissors.
Oh right, okay.
I'm going to see if I can cut this copper with kitchen. Oh, I can. Huh. How about that? Who knew? Copper's really interesting. This is a very interesting wire. You know, if I put her finger into the light socket with this copper wire, we could probably call into Tokyo right now. Hello, Tokyo. Can you hear it? I feel like this connection.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, it's finding all these things like copper wire. We've known about copper wire for years. And these things, it's trying to think out the box, you know.
Indeed, absolutely. So the reason I made mine a little fatter at the side and pulled it out was because I found she was a little bulbous here. I wasn't into the bulbous look of my girl. But I do love to create triangles in shapes. I do like to create smallness there and the width there. And I do love to create a triangle here where it's tighter at the front and then a little bit wider at the back. So that's my rendition. If there's a lightning storm that night, this girl's going to go up in smoke.
It was good while it lasted, eh? But you know, I think you've just made a really good point. It's like, you know, your style is evolving as you're going along. And, you know, so is mine really. Because, you know, originally I decided that I didn't want too much texture in and above where the chain is. But then I was wrong, you know? Now I've looked at it, it actually, because, and I think it's maybe because the wig Alexandra has got that texture to it anyway.
Yes.
I feel that it's a little bit too alien and not having a little bit of something here. So, see what I'm doing with my fingers? I'm just breaking up, the top. So if anything, I'm making this look a bit more scruffy and look a little piecey, so it matches this. Because I felt that I'd styled it and this wasn't, it wasn't really clean and it wasn't really messy, so it was just doing something.
Yeah.
So
I felt the same.
Yeah. So my options were to clean it up or to follow on this texture. So I thought I'd follow on this wild texture. Because as we've said in previous, I love texture. I love it. So where are you at with yours then, Vivienne? And are you happy with it?
Well, I'm debulking her fringe a little tiny bit, just taking out some weight. Yeah, I think actually I quite like, I think now that I'm taking some weight out of the fringe, I think it's going to be much, much better because, I don't want, I want controlled volume and, if there's too much volume in the front, it takes away from the volume that I want in the back. So, you know, there's too many focal points. So I'm just kind of being very, very visual here and just taking out some of that weight and having that be soft and, just slithering through is the best way of describing it.
And what a great descriptive word as well. Slithering through. It's like, you know exactly what it means, don't you? It's like, it's not a big cut. It's
No.
not a tiny cut. You're just running down that hair shaft and creating what you need. For me, these kind of words are very, very descriptive.
Well, also too, the fact that I've got a dark, wig and you've got a blonde, your one is showing off texture a lot more than mine can. So the little bit of gold in there and of course these lovely red lights coming through are very pretty. So I think when one's making a hairstyle a little bit more messy and undone, one's got to be so mindful of the color because certain colors are not going to read the texture as well, just because lights absorb the darkness is absorbing the texture. It's not reflecting. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So I've taken out some of the weight there, but I feel the same as you. I can actually pull mine apart a bit more and have more fluid, because I think you've either got to have contrast between your sleek and your textured underneath, or it's got to just kind of like flow through and the whole thing's got to be a bit more textured. So just pulling it apart. But then we also know that when we pull it apart, we start to create volume in a place we may not necessarily want. So I think that's the other big thing too, don't you?
Yeah, I think, you know, I mean, on it before, but balance, and I mean, my body now is all around the back. Now, I feel, and this, again, this is only personal, but I feel for me, if I was to give her a load of body at the top as well as this back, for me it'd be a bit too much.
Yeah, but I think that looks amazing. Really, really gorgeous. Really gorgeous.
Thank you. Well,
really lovely.
I think we've both passed our ponytail test today, isn't it?
But that's such a cool effect. I just love how that just is with the chain and how that's kind of given it something really special. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful job. Beautiful job. Loving. Love, love, love.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And where are you at the moment? I want to see that copper development. There she is. There she is. I'm gorgeous.
Yeah. So I do have some texture in here, but it's hard to really see it in the dark. It is a little bit there, but it's hard to really read it in the dark. Sometimes that's when I would go in with the diffuser and just get that through. But anyway, that's my wire. I bound and then I pulled it apart. So that's it. And then I just did thin out her fringe a little tiny bit so that she's a little less solid around the front. So she's got that little vibe.
Yeah, it's good, doesn't it? Well, I think I'd better turn my lady around so they can have a chat. Where are they going? Where are they going tonight? These two?
Oh, they're going out for a hot date. Date. Yeah, hot date. They got two gorgeous chappies who they're going to have a good time with. That's for sure.
Well, have fun. Don't come in too late. So that's me. So my one on that side it's really clean. This side, I mean, I just weaved in between the chains so we get that. I mean, the chain wasn't really long, but I mean, you could even lift that up and do other things with it. But I just really like that, and I think something like this on a cocktail party with a lady with a scooped out backless dress, that just going down about, I think it's beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it, love it, love it. So thank you so much for sharing your great technique. Off you go, darling. Go and get a body. Thank you so much for sharing. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this little demo of, actually I would never have thought to put a wig into a ponytail. I've always thought about cutting wigs, so I've never thought about doing that. So I think it's super, super interesting. And again, you open up our mind. I love the accessories, kind of like threading that through and leaving the piece of the hair out, going in and deconstructing it. I think that was really, really cool. So you've shared some really great tips with us. So thank you so very much.
Thank you. I feel so blessed to be able to have this experience with you, Vivienne. Thank you so much.
It's been fun, a lot of fun. So guys, thank you so much for watching. So we have 4 of these little episodes. So do check them out. We've gone from Alexander's career, his journey, which is so fascinating, right the way through to his creative mind and his beautiful editorial work, through to some good mentoring and business advice and some really great tips. So do check out the entire series, and of course, do check out Alexander's beautiful work and his lovely collection. Thank you so much, Alexander. It's been an honor.
Thank you. The honor's all mine.
Okay. Take care, guys. Bye.